Hey, what's going on, all you scallywags out there? It's the world's most hated and most racist online show in America. It is Reese on the radio, right here live on Whack FM, your music news and talk station. Sorry about the delay. I was just running a little bit of doing some recon, trying to get this radio show going. And applaud me for doing all this hard work for you on a regular basis. Hello, Carl. How we doing, LA? Thank you all for being a part of the show tonight. Plenty of things to get into. Some old news, some good news, some bad news. Should we get into the bad news first? Why not? Let's just get into the bad news, folks. The bad news is, folks, that if you were holding a DC wedding, you will not be allowed to dance. If you were holding a wedding in DC, you will not be allowed to dance because Mario Bowser says dancing is bad. You can get COVID from dancing. Everything you can get COVID from, folks. Everything you can get. You cannot dance or stand at a wedding. You can't stand at a wedding? I mean, I would think... You know, let me explain to you how stupid this is. And this is bureaucracy and bureaucrats at their finest and at their dumbest. Okay? If you think that these people are smart enough to lead you, to lead your lives, to tell you what you can and you cannot do, you already got a problem if you think that anyway. They're there to represent you and your agenda. They're there to do your bidding, right? You want more cops on the beat, you get more cops, right? You want more traffic lights or stoplights, they're there to represent your interests, right? You want lower taxes, fine. You want another more of a welfare safety net, they do those things for you, but they're there to represent you. They're really not there to do anything other than your bidding. So when somebody like Mario Bowser comes out and tells you, hold up, wait a minute, you cannot dance at your own freaking wedding. If I remember this correctly, that's the most important part. In the wedding are the dances. I'm getting ready to do one of my good friend Apple's weddings. And I'm about to DJ her wedding. And she gave me a list of songs that I have to play for her first dance with her soon-to-be husband, Dave. And I'll admit, she gave me some eclectic stuff that I'm all supposed to blend into a medley. I've got, just to give you a heads up or give you some background on this, I'm supposed to go from the Traveling Wilburys to Hall & Oates. Just to give you the spectrum of which I'm supposed to work out a dance medley for the bride and groom's first dance. Okay? Hall & Oates to the Traveling Wilburys. I've got to make that seamless. I'll tell you right off the bat that I'm going to do it, and it's going to be brilliant. But that being said, Mario Bowser says that if they were holding this wedding in D.C., which they're not, but if they were holding this wedding in D.C., that these two could not dance. If you don't believe me, just check out the Channel 9 correspondent here who's talking about it on CBS, the local CBS affiliate here in D.C. All right, never mind. So apparently that's not working because the volume isn't even playing on this ridiculous thing. I thought that I had the volume fixed on this thing, but apparently I do not. Let me see if I can fix it here. Hold on. Give me a second here. I'm supposed to have all of this done, but apparently I screwed up. I'm going to try this one more time. All right, let's see whether or not we can get the audio this time. Here we go. Okay, so it's not working. All right. Anyway, the breakdown is, nope, thank you. I appreciate it, Carl. I appreciate it. You're day late, $1 short. But thank you for your work ethic nonetheless. Okay, so the audio's not working. But anyway, that was the point. It's not going on there. So anyway, that's a done deal. So I'll have to find some other way to fix it. Other than that, Mario Bowser says you can't dance. It's not going to happen. You can't dance at your wedding. So therefore, that piece is worthless. So let me turn my volume down over here because I was checking to see whether or not that was running over on your end. At least you can see it. So it's not. So, okay. All right. So I failed miserably. Okay. It just goes with the territory. It goes with the territory. I'm just having one of those days. This is just miserable. I want so badly to be angry and scream and holler. Oh, by the way, did you hear Alan Dershowitz? Folks, if you did not hear this, Alan Dershowitz, famed liberal, constitutional lawyer and professor, lawyer, defense attorney, says that Derek Chauvin has a very good chance to have his conviction thrown out thanks to Brandon Mitchell. Did you know this? That Brandon Mitchell, his admitting to being, in essence, an activist, at the Chauvin trial may very well get Chauvin's case overturned. Who would have thunk? But like I said, I'm going to say it again. People don't believe me. I'm going to say it again. I think that there's not a judge around that is going to risk his career or his reputation, because that's the way things are today, folks. Things today. Yes, you did good work today. I don't think that there's any judge worth his salt that's going to overturn that conviction. I just don't think so. I just don't think it's going to happen. So it's going to be a nice try on their part. The Chauvin attorneys, it's going to be a good try on their part, but I really don't believe that it's going to happen. I just don't think so. But we'll see that. We'll see what's happened. Bruce Jenner. Oh, I'm sorry. You may know him as Caitlyn. Did his first interview on the Hannity show. Did you get to see it? Was it uncomfortable to watch? Let me be the first to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it was uncomfortable for me to watch. I cannot look at Bruce with a wig on. I can't. I ate Wheaties as a child because of Bruce Jenner. I know an Olympian. I knew Olympians because of Bruce Jenner. Olympics became relevant in my life because of Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner was iconic. I wouldn't know a Greg Louganis. I wouldn't know a Mike Spitz. Anybody remember that name? Anybody remember Mike Spitz? Anybody remember what Mike Spitz was famous for? What sport he competed in? Think. You'll probably know. The reason why I knew Greg Louganis was because I even cared about the Olympics. And that was because of Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner was everything to sports. The agony of defeat, the thrill of victory. He was sports. He was iconic. Eating your Wheaties, think about it. Eating your Wheaties is a pop culture reference that is synonymous with being strong or being gifted. When someone uses that terminology, they are in direct reference to Bruce Jenner. Direct reference. You hear somebody say it, oh, someone must have had their Wheaties today. No one eats that stuff today. People don't eat Wheaties. Or do they? Do you know anyone with a Wheaties box in their house? I don't know anybody with a Wheaties box in their house. Right now, I think my mother has grape nuts sitting up there on the refrigerator. I haven't had cereal in my house in a decade. But there's cereal up there now. Anyway, when you get old, you like cereal, I guess. When you're a kid and when you get old, you like cereal. But yeah, eating your Wheaties, that's a direct reference to Bruce Jenner. So I can't watch that whole thing. I'm looking at the picture now and I can't look at it. I can't even do it. Anyway, you heard about Liz Cheney. I talked about it the other day, folks. Madam Liz Cheney, as I expressed yesterday, or the day before yesterday, Liz Cheney is pretty much out in leadership. She was the number 3 Republican in Washington, and she is pretty much going to be ousted from leadership. And let me explain to you why. Liz Cheney made a fool out of herself to be loved and adored by the political enemy. And Liz Cheney made a fatal mistake by suggesting that she was a stalwart Republican, and her latest effort to show us that she was a stalwart Republican was to write an op-ed page in the liberal-leaning Washington Post, and to also be endorsed by none other than Nancy Pelosi. Oh, and Joe Biden. So I say, Liz Cheney, you've got it wrapped up. Yes, you are definitely going to be a GOP leader in the future. You keep doing that good work of getting the endorsement of liberals and putting op-eds in liberal newspapers, and I guarantee you'll always be our hero, dear. You are the wind beneath our wings. Not. Anyway, okay. So since I don't have the audio that I wanted, and my audio program is just effed up as it is, I'm going to have to wing it, and you're just going to have to deal with me. This is a story that I've been warning you about for the longest. People have tried to suggest that it's not going to happen. It's not going to be an issue. Oh, Reese, don't worry about it. It's not going further than the NCAA. Don't worry about it, Reese. It's only for high school and scholastic sports. Don't worry about it, Reese. You all said that. But over and over again, I keep being proved right. So, hold on to your hats. Pay no attention to the men walking off with the women's sports trophies, say LGBT activists. It's a non-issue, they insist. Despite their denials, the controversy will flare up to new heights this summer in the Olympics in Tokyo. There, Laurel Hubbard of New Zealand is expected to be the first transgender athlete in Olympic history. Laurel was for most of his life known as Gavin. He's been mopping up the competition in women's weightlifting for a few years, and he's one of the favorites to medal in the Summer Olympics. That means winning bronze, silver, or more than likely gold, because he's a man, baby. The Guardian's Sean Ingle wrote that Hubbard's Olympic team selection will sharply divide opinion between those who see it as an enormous step forward for trans athletes and others who insist she benefits from an unfair advantage. Mark it down for entry in the understatement of the year. Now, the interesting part about Gavin here is that Gavin is going to compete with women in the sport of deadlifting. Right? That's the sport where the weights are down on the ground. They pick up, they throw it over their shoulders. They throw it up and they throw it back down. Deadlifting. That's what it's called. What was the name of that movie, that Disney movie that Kurt Russell was in when he was a kid? He was a kid. He was a weightlifter, and he ate some formula inside of a cereal. It may have been Wheaties, nonetheless. So this particular homeboy, Gavin, set junior records in multiple male competitions in 2012 at the age of 35. Now, 2012 is 9 years ago, folks. 9 years ago. So at the age of 35, that means that Gavin today is going on 45 years old. Gavin will soon be 45 years old and will be in the Olympics and is most likely to get a gold medal, if not a silver, unless the female outlifts him in the deadlift, which I doubt. Because if you've seen Gavin, let me see if I can get a good picture of Gavin up here for you to get a good look at Gavin. Gavin is serious. Gavin is not small. Can you see that? Let's see, get that glare out of there. There's Gavin right there. Gavin's a man, baby. There's Gavin. Gavin's a man. But at the age of 45, beating women who were probably, 20 years younger than him? Probably 20 years younger than him. He has more body mass than any one of them. He's going to totally destroy them in deadlifting. Destroy them. Now, at the age of 44 in the Olympics, I want you to think. I want you to think about something, folks. Picture it in your mind. Think real hard. It's 9 years from now. 9 years from now. And LeBron James is 44. He's 36 now. So he's 44 going on 45. And LeBron has not won the 6 championships or the 7 championships that he's needed to surpass that of Michael Jordan. So he decides he can't play anymore, and he can't help out a team because, his bones are getting a little brittle. He's got some cartilage damage in his knees. LeBron decides, I gotta wait to get that 7th one or that 6th one. I'm gonna join the WNBA. I'll dominate. I'll win the MVP every year until I'm 50. Those sorry broads can't dunk on me. They damn sure can't defense on me. At 45, I'm probably still better than them. I probably could whip their ass on the court at age 50. Oh, hell, LeBron, I can whip their ass at age 50. I'm 51. What do you think will possibly happen? If LeBron, would they be calling it unfair then? Would it be unfair then, ladies and gentlemen, for a man to join the NBA? I bet you they would immediately say, nope, you can't do it. We've done everything to protect the WNBA to make sure that women could have a sport. They're complaining already about how much money they're not making. They're already complaining that they don't have enough endorsements. Now LeBron's going to come in and take that from us as well. What do you think is going to happen when LeBron gets over there? The same thing that happened with Caitlyn Jenner. The same thing that happened with Caitlyn Jenner when Caitlyn Jenner all of a sudden decided she was a woman. When Bruce said that he was a woman, what happened? Bruce was in the running to be Woman of the Year for Glamour magazine. He was running for Woman of the Year. Not him himself, but he was in the running for Woman of the Year in Glamour magazine Do you know who was bringing up the rear? A real woman, Reese Witherspoon. Caitlyn Jenner, a.k.a. Bruce Jenner, Wheaties Box, was a front runner for Woman of the Year in Glamour magazine and was beating out a real woman, Reese Witherspoon. How the F is that possible? So what do you think would happen if LeBron decided he was going to play for the WNBA? I could get another 5 years in, but I can't play with the boys anymore. Set me up. Set me up, coach. Set me up. I'll put a weave in my hair. I'll shave the beard. Don't worry about it. But I think we got one more championship in us. Maybe two. Let me suit up, coach. Who's the most popular female basketball team we got in the WNBA? None of them? That's fine. We'll make one of them hot. People are just going to show up to see me play in the WNBA. How much are the tickets? $28. God damn. All right, we're going to have to boost those ticket prices up to see me play. How much do they get paid? Oh, there's no way I'm going over there for that kind of money. Who's willing to take a pay cut? Oh, yeah, I'm going to make the WNBA hot for once. I've got it covered. I'm almost certain that everybody on this transgender journey, even that Rapinoe broad from the U.S. soccer team, the female U.S. soccer team, she would have a heart attack. She would lose it. LeBron's coming to play for a WNBA team? No, that's not fair. No. All right, this transgender thing is crazy. This is just nonsense. We got to knock it off, folks. All right? I'm one for inclusion, but y'all are just going a little crazy right now. You know, maybe we need to rethink this. Anyway. It's just a horrible, horrible state. What is this? Secret papers of Lee Atwater, political mastermind. What is this? Nothing. Okay, I thought there was new Giuliani news, but it's nothing. Everybody's got a Giuliani story. Like something's going to happen to him. Nothing's going to happen to Giuliani. I wish people would stop thinking they're just sitting by waiting for Giuliani to be arrested, put in handcuffs. It's not going to happen. You would not climb up 4 flights of stairs the other day. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. You're damn right I wouldn't. I eventually climbed them, Carl. I climbed them to get paid. That's what I did. I climbed them to get paid. Hey, folks, if you want to hear something that should frighten the hell out of you, folks, here's something to consider. Google runs an algorithm that controls what it is that you are looking for. Its algorithm is man-made. It is not an AI. It is not artificial intelligence. It is set up through an algorithm made by humans that will control what it is that you're searching for. If you've not seen the videos, look them up. Which goes to show you that, in essence, there's a degree of censorship that's in that, but there's also a degree of propaganda that's happening with that as well. So when you're looking up certain things, Google will put you in a direction to which it wants you to go. So when you're looking up things about climate change, you will hear things about climate change that effectively suggest that climate change is real, not an opposing view. You'll have to search far and wide or go way, way down to the bottom. You know, at the bottom when it says page number 1, 2, 3, and all the way down to 200 and whatever. You'd have to go all the way to the back of those pages in order to get a dissenting view on climate change, because Google only wants you to search and find what it is that they want you to search and find. You have to be very specific about what you search for on that site, on Google. So the Drudge Report each year puts out a list of the most viewed websites for the month. And it gives a breakdown of how many people have visited said website. Now, I want you to think about this because this is very important. What do you think the number? What do you think the number of people who went to Google News was for the month of April? The number of people who searched on Google News, that number was 1.7 billion. The next, is that 1.7? Yes, 1.7 billion. The website that went behind that came in second, was CNN with 1.1 billion. Third place was Fox News with 820 million. The New York Times with 779 million. Then Yahoo News with 656 million. Now, yes, we do know that Google News is, Google, it's a form of search. When you say Google it, that's what it means. Google has now replaced the word search or look it up. You say Google it. It has its own turn of phrase, if you will. Now, that is a considerable amount of people who search Google for their news or go to Google for their news. So the next time you are thinking about why it is that certain people think the way that they do or believe what it is that they believe, it is because Google, which has here 1.7 billion people going to its site in the month of April alone, suggests that more people get their information from there than any other place. And then after that, it's CNN. And then Fox News behind it. So those people who are so worried about the Fox News crowd, they get more of their news. They aggregate more of their news through two left-leaning sites combined. Then Fox News even contributes. And then behind Fox News is the New York Times, which is also left-leaning. Then there's Yahoo News. Then there's the Washington Post. Then BuzzFeed, USA Today, CNBC. The New York Post, which is considered conservative, comes further down that list. In fact, there are very few, and I do mean very few, sites that are on here that are conservative. The number I count on the conservative side, and I'll list them as we go down, is Fox News 1, New York Post, Wall Street Journal, Breitbart, Newsmax, and that's it. The left-leaning sites are Google, CNN, Fox News. I'm sorry, I already said Fox News, but these are left-leaning. Google, CNN, New York Times, Yahoo, Washington Post, BuzzFeed, USA Today, CNBC, Politico, Huffington Post, NBC News, TMZ, The Hill, ABC, CBS, LA Times, Daily Beast, and the Daily Wire. That's a toss-up. That's a toss-up between the two. But most people in this country get their news from left-leaning sites. And the lowest group on here, the one that was Daily Wire, 45 million. LA Times, 66 million. So it's insane that ABC News and CBS News give far less than what Google News gets. Far less than what CNN gets. CNN is a basic cable network. There are more people going to the CNN site for their news than they go into ABC News, which they know and love, which is a nationwide, regular channel, which I find incredible. But that's what you should consider the next time that you get into these conversations with these people about who is driving or the driving force behind news media. And that is the liberal media. Believe it or not. But the numbers are right there. Okay? They just are. Don't have to, what do you call it? Don't have to argue with me about it. I know it to be true. And the numbers don't lie. So you can make a beef about it all you want. Did you hear about this thing? I was going to talk about this before, but apparently the folks over at Warner Brothers wish to make a black Superman. I heard this earlier today on the radio. I saw it on Drudge Report, and I didn't know whether or not I wanted to talk about this today, but I am. I'm going to talk about it now. We need a black Superman as much as we needed a Black Panther. And that means we needed neither. And let me explain to you why. And this is going to probably upset some people, but I don't care. We didn't need a Black Panther movie. We didn't need Black Panther introduced to the Marvel Universe. It wasn't necessary. It was a consolation prize from the white folks over at Disney. And it should be viewed as such. I can't respect anything that's done in a fashion that says, hey, let's give them some crumbs. You know, look, we're making billions of dollars here. You know, literally, we're printing our own money over here at Marvel. And I think it's important that we show something diverse for the sake of being diverse. Not because it really matters to the universe in and of itself, but let's give them something. Let's throw them a bone, and we'll get the news media to turn it into a cultural phenomenon because, you know, we're Marvel. And, we got enough money to print BS stories to make people think that we're doing something that's culturally phenomenal. And next thing you know, we got people in Congress wearing Kembe cloths. We got people running down to the movie theater dressed up like Africans with music and dancing. You know, we'll make the Lion King look like a minstrel show by the time we're done with it. And that's what the Black Panther was. It was a freaking minstrel show. Now, people don't like hearing that, but that's what it was. Nothing against the black actors who decided to do it. And, of course, nothing against Chadwick Boseman. Nothing against the guy. You know, he took a role. He wanted to be a part of the universe. I'm sure it was important, but it was like, I mean, let's really think the grand scheme of things, right? They introduce his character in Civil War, right? His father ends up dead. They introduce his character in Civil War. He has a couple of fight scenes, and then he's gone, and then we got to introduce a movie. We introduce the movie. We find out the origins of the vibranium when it gets to Wakanda. We see this whole thing about, you know, how he gets his power by, and what the most insulting thing that they do. How does he get his power? From some purple drink. I mean, that's what it was. Whether you like it or not, they give him some purple drink. You know, they forced this whole ideology that they're so technologically advanced. They forced that on us because they need to show black people in a positive, like, look how technically advanced. In fact, they're much more technically advanced than their white counterparts. Okay, so we need to bolster up black people fictionally, right? In a fictional way. We need to promote black people as like these technologically advanced people. As if to suggest that because we're not, we need that imagery on television. Because again, we need to have that forced onto our image so that we believe in ourselves. Another white man telling us, hey, let's do something to make those Negroes believe in themselves. Why? So we're going to make a fictional character. We're going to make them technologically advanced. We're going to make this little black girl an inventor of all of this stuff, which in essence, all we have to do is with a wave of our effing hands and give her a script to read. Oh, I've obviously piqued some interest here. What's up, Mike? How are you today?
Hey, man, you are right in my wheelhouse with this. I saw this story about the Black Superman thing. Do you know who has been given the job of writing the screenplay for this abomination?
I do. Now, first of all, I was going to talk about him because that's what I wanted to lead into. I had his name. Do you have his name up front?
Yeah, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yes, Ta-Nehisi Coates. And this guy is a real piece of work. For not just the things he said about the 9/11 first responders, but what he said about his own childhood, I guess in this book that he wrote, talking about how black people treating him or bullying him as a child was a form of white supremacy, was a product of white supremacy, which made no sense to me.
He's a radical. Like, I think he's
completely.
one of these people who thinks that ancient Africans had flying machines around pyramids and all that crazy bullshit.
He really does. He really does believe that. He believes Wakanda is real.
But, this whole blackwashing of cultural icons.
Yes.
If you go online, there's the whiny liberals who are like, oh, it's okay, it's no big deal, Superman's not white. Well, bullshit, no, Superman is white. Superman's always been white.
Exactly.
And specifically, Clark Kent Kal-El is white.
Exactly.
In this, I guess the nerds will tell you there was an alternate universe version of Superman where he was a black guy named Val-Zod or something.
Yes.
And that could have been the Superman they went with. But they didn't. They didn't do that, and they could have, but they're going with Kal-El Clark Kent simply to blackwash a cultural icon.
Yes, but I'm still trying to figure out, again, why is it that this, quote-unquote, this proverbial or this throwing of the bone, if you will, that white executives are doing for black people who really don't care about DC Comics or Marvel Comics. They don't really care. These things matter not to them. Why do they think that they have to get involved in this?
I not to be conspiratorial, man. I think this goes along the line with trying to demoralize young white people and take away their heroes.
Okay, so all right, then fine. Let's elaborate on taking away their heroes. Are we trying to rewrite some sort of history with this? Like, are we trying to boost? Are we trying to boost up the heritage of black people by marginalizing and diminishing white people in this country?
Well, yeah. I mean, do you remember when they rebooted the Fantastic Four movie like 5 years ago?
Yes, right. And they had to bring Michael B. Jordan in as Johnny Blaze.
Right, and the stupid way they did it is they made Sue Storm the adopted sister of the black scientist who was Johnny Storm's dad.
Yes.
Which was retarded, right? It made no sense. It made the movie flop. And to be fair, nobody went to see that movie.
Nobody did.
And the people online will tell you, oh, it was a bad movie, that's why it failed. But being a bad movie has nothing to do with lousy opening weekend box office.
That's right. Exactly right.
Being a bad movie is second week, once word of mouth gets out. But Fantastic Four movie, the first two, Jessica Alba and the guy from The Shield, Michael Chiklis, and Chris Evans, those movies did pretty well. They weren't great movies, but they did good box because they cast according to canon.
Right.
When the people who are Fantastic Four fans, and Fantastic Four is a pretty small franchise, that's for comic book nerds only.
Exactly.
Nobody would see it because we don't want to see Black Johnny Storm.
Exactly. But see, you know what? Even though people keep talking about the Fantastic Four as Marvel's first family, I got to be honest with you. This is actually insane, and I heard this once. People said that Disney got a hold of the least popular Marvel characters and ended up turning Marvel into the beast that it is, and saying that the characters, the least popular that it had, was Iron Man. In my head, I'm sitting there going, Iron Man wasn't a least popular, neither was Thor. These were extremely popular characters. No one could get their movies right. That was the problem. Just you couldn't get the movies right.
The tech wasn't there at the time.
Exactly.
But are you familiar with the Marvel Comics character Red Sonja?
Yes, I know. I saw your post about that because I saw the Bridget Nielsen version of Red Sonja with Arnold Schwarzenegger. How does he not play Conan the Barbarian in the Red Sonja film when they're in the same universe?
Well, why are they casting a half Nigerian British girl to play a giant red-headed Amazon?
Yeah, again, that's because it's not even about. I don't know. It's not even about casting to scale anymore. I mean, it just doesn't.
It's casting to tick a diversity box.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's the objective is they don't even care whether or not the movie bombs. It's because they get to say whatever it is they get to say about it. Like Ghostbusters, at the end of the day, what did that do when they did the female Ghostbusters? What did it accomplish by having a female Ghostbusters? It was one of the most panned movies of that year.
Well, are you a big reader?
I'm par.
Okay. Have you ever read Stephen King's Dark Tower series?
I do remember, I know the Dark Tower movies with Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
These were it's supposed to be a series of 10 books. Stephen King tapped out at 7 or something. But it's a really outstanding series of fantasy novels, basically about a cowboy from another dimension who goes on adventures with people from our dimension.
Okay.
In the book, there's illustrations. The illustrations show Roland the cowboy, the gunslinger, as Clint friggin' Eastwood.
Wow.
Right? He's legit Clint Eastwood. He's tall, blue-eyed, rangy, and they cast Idris Elba. Stephen King's liberal ass went along with it, his masterwork, and they ruined it. I mean, the movie sucked anyway, but people didn't go see it. Constant readers didn't see it. Why? Because you didn't give us Roland who looks like Roland.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not against seeing a movie with a black lead. Dude, I see all kinds of movies with black leads. I saw all the Blade movies in the theater. I'm fine with it.
Right.
But do your own shit.
Yeah, that's my...
Give black people their own heroes.
Exactly. And you know what? How about this? There are plenty of quote-unquote black heroes within the comic book world. Just do those movies. Hey, Michael Jai White did the Spawn movies, right? You know, if you're going to redo Blade, and that's fine if they want to do it with this guy, whatever his name is, I can't remember right now. But if they're going
to... The guy from the Green Book.
Yeah, the guy from... Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If you're going to redo Blade with this guy, I believe, you know what, to be honest with you, I really think he's going to do a good job. Marvel, I know, is going to do a good job with him. That I don't deny. But there are so many quote-unquote black characters that you could have turned into a film that you didn't do. Why did you do Luke Cage as a TV series? You ruined it. It could have been such a great movie that was done in New York as a love letter to New York City, Harlem for that matter. It could have been filmed in Harlem. It would have been black actors galore bringing that sort of, that character. And you could have done that character several times over in sequels in Harlem. New York would have had a hero, and it would not have been forced upon us like Black Panther was. Because I don't care what anybody says, that movie was forced on us.
Black Panther was kind of it's the second weakest Marvel movie. The weakest, of course, is Captain Marvel.
Absolutely.
Diversity, girl power bullshit.
Absolutely.
But Black Panther, he's a lame hero because he basically got his ass kicked when he didn't have his powers. You remember that, right?
That's correct.
By Killmonger.
Exactly. Practically killed.
I found it insulting. Like, nobody said that the Wakandans were dicks for hoarding all their tech and their wealth while their neighboring African countries are starving to death.
Exactly.
I mean, they have vibranium and super tech better than America, and they didn't do anything to help their neighbors.
Right.
And all these people with these Wakanda Forever shirts and hats. Like, what did Wakanda do at the end of the movie? They set up a youth center in Oakland?
Yes.
Come on, man.
Well, you know what? That was another part that actually I found amazing because I went to a barbershop. My nephew and my sister came into town. We went to the barbershop to go get his hair cut. And we're sitting there, and it just come out that weekend, and the guys in the barbershop know how critical I am of, like, this forced black culture in our society. And so as soon as I get there, everybody in the barbershop is like, Reese, what's up? And they're like, oh, come on, grab a seat. Tell us what you thought of Black Panther. So the first thing I said to him was, all right, let's be honest. My biggest problem was that I went in there thinking that Marvel was going to say, hey, Here's Black Panther, and he's going to go out there and go fight the oppressive white man. Right? That's what I thought I was going to see. But instead, I got 2.5 hours of black-on-black violence, which is what I got. And
on the diversity tip, have you heard what they're doing to Brie Larson?
No, but I've been hearing these rumors about her and the whole Captain Marvel thing. What's the deal?
Okay, so it's kind of funny because Brie Larson, as you know, is as woke and liberal as you get.
Oh, couldn't get crazier.
I don't need a 40-year-old white man telling me why A Wrinkle in Time didn't work and it's not for him.
Exactly.
Well, the Captain Marvel 2 has now been named The Marvels.
I saw
and
that.
it's going to co-star Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan as another Captain Marvel character and Ms. Marvel. So now Brie has to share her sequel with 2 women of color.
So, okay, so just so I got this right. Now, I know Kamala Khan is going to be in the Miss Marvel TV series. And she is the Middle Eastern superhero?
Yeah, and I guess her power is she has big hands or some wacky thing. It's kind of stupid.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, I'm not sure of what her character was, but I do know I saw some previews of her because I think I watched that whole thing that Kevin Feige did where he was introducing her and he was promoting how all the directors of all of her series are all Middle Eastern. Like every director of the Miss Marvel series is all Middle Eastern because they're going to tell a Middle Eastern story. Whatever.
I don't understand how that's going to work because I don't think anybody in America really gives a crap about a Muslim superhero.
I don't think so
I know
either.
for sure the Muslim nations do not care about a superpowered woman.
Exactly. Yeah, who are they trying to appeal to? like Iran is.
They're not going to see that.
Yes, Iran's sitting up there just going, "Oh, Marvel will not be coming to our country."
I don't really think it's going to do well in Saudi Arabia either. They're not going to drive their wives to the theater to watch that.
And they're not going to let their drive there by themselves either. Yeah, it's a little crazy what they're doing.
I mean, it's so disappointing. The Phase 4 Marvel, I guess the first big movie that's coming out is The Eternals, and it's got a gay couple.
Oh, does it?
Why do you need gay Eternals? And its co-stars Kumail Nanjiani, that obnoxious liberal, tacky tard.
Now, don't get me wrong though. I really liked him in Franklin and Bash. He was my favorite character on that show. And I saw his movie. Did you see the movie that he did? He wrote and produced about how he met his wife.
The one where she was sick or something.
Yes,
I did not, but I know of it.
It's actually pretty good. I know he's a liberal. I trust me. I know he's like a real horrible liberal. But like I said, I'm really willing to seriously separate him as a person from his art because I kind of like him. And I'll tell you this quick story before I let you go. I remember I was in a Wegmans, and I'm sure you probably don't have one there, but it's almost like a fancy. It's like a low caliber Whole Foods. And they were doing a wine taste. We were doing a wine tasting there, and this one couple was there talking about all the vineyards here in Virginia. And one woman said, "If you really want to try a good wine, you should go to the Trump Vineyard here in Virginia." Well, the one woman turned around and said, "Oh, I morally just can't go to that vineyard." And the guy says, "You should really go. The wine there is really good. They really take care of, their grapes, and wine is really, really good there." She goes, "I just couldn't morally go there." So I put my hand on her shoulder and I said, "Ma'am, I can't stand Gwyneth Paltrow. She's a liberal and she's crazy. But she's great in those Iron Man movies. I love her as Pepper Potts and I go every time." And I just left it at that. I said, if you really are a wine fan, just go down there and try the wine. Who gives a shit whether or not it's Trump owned? You like wine? Go enjoy some wine.
Well, yeah, I get you, man, because, I'm a big music fan. If I listened to nothing but artists who were conservative, it would be nothing but, Ted Nugent.
Yeah, there you go. You get Billy. You'd never listen to Billy Joel Osborne. I mean, what's his name? Billy Joel from Green Day. Because trust me, I hate everything that comes out of his mouth.
All right, man. Well, look, good talking, and Good show, yeah?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
I mean, bye.
But I love when Mike calls. Anyway, yeah, but Black Superman joke. I'm sick and tired. Just stop it. Just stop it. And like, no one ever says anything. No one ever says to these guys, listen, white people, stop. We get it. We get it. You want to show us that you love us and you care about us? We know that you're trying to make up for reparations and all that other bullshit, but please stop it. Just stop. I just wish they'd stop. The constant tripping over yourselves trying to make black people like... I don't even think it's for black people to like you. I think it has nothing to do with something that you can brag about to your liberal friends. About, you know what I did for black people today? I wrote a movie about them. We're going to have it produced. Yeah, $4 million budget. Hey, you know what I did for black people today? Yes, I lowered our prices at the local bodega. Yes, I did. I'm doing my part. Save a Negro. It's quite annoying and depressing. It is. Gosh, I got so wrapped up in Mike. I got so wrapped up in that, I really didn't even realize where the freak we were in the hour. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, folks. You know what that sound is. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. I'll work on this audio thing. I promise I'll get it right tomorrow. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC and Russia in your hearts and minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. And you want to make God laugh, make plans. I know, it contradicts itself. You guys have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. And I'll see you then. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.